The second meeting of the season for the RNG British Talent Cup on the support for the MotoGP, and it was Filip Saraviak who blasted away from pole position once again, but with big pressure from behind. It was Peter Willis who mounted a serious challenge to the man who had dominated proceedings at the opening round at Donington Park, fighting through the first couple of corners, but it was Saraviak who found his way through, not without pressure from behind though, with Ryan Frost and Harrison McKay trying to go around him, and Julian Correa also throwing his hat into the ring as well after a disappointing opening meeting. Things getting very, very close down into Stowe Corner. McKay was able to fight at the front, but it was Saraviak on the last lap who managed to take the lead very late in the lap and take his third consecutive victory of the season. Round 3 of the RNG British Talent Cup comes from Snetterton, and once again it is Filip Saraviak who has put it on pole position, the man that they just cannot stop at the moment. 3 out of 4 wins, the first person ever to do that in this championship, but he's got stiff competition. We saw there Jack Dunnerby, one of 2 rookie sensations here in this championship. Harrison McKay, second in the championship, starting in 4th position. Mason Foster, the Mortimer Racing bike that is taking it to the RS Run machines. Ethan Sparks, the second of our 14-year-old debutants, or our rookies for this season, I should say. He starts in 2nd position. But up at the front of the field, the city lifting team by RS Racing. Number 75, Filip Saraviak, 3 out of the 4 wins that we've had so far. And the one he didn't take was because he had a very, very late drama out there with a fall on the last lap at Silverstone. And so the result there on a very wet day actually went to Peter Willis, who's now 4th in the standings. Danny Buchan alongside me. This grid, once again, delivering in droves. We've got the experienced guys out there, but the rookies doing an incredible job, especially out there under the limelight of MotoGP at Silverstone.
Yeah, you've got Peter Willis there, you just mentioned, is back in 16th on the grid, so a real shake-up here. Obviously, the conditions were a bit funny, as we saw at Silverstone there, and yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to this one. You know, Ethan Sparks, smaller guy, he's going off the front row here. Obviously, we've got Filip Saraviak, who's been winning lately. He's been quite dominant, so, you know, I'm looking forward to it, and yeah, I think we're in for an excited race, guys.
Let's go through the championship standings then. Filip Saraviak leads the way by 10 points to Harrison McKay after his fall last time out. Ryan Frost a further 2 points back. Peter Willis now up to 4th in the standings after taking the victory last time out. Ethan Sparks there in 5th position, already a podium finisher this season, ahead of Jack Dunnerby, who has also claimed a podium finish this season. Mason Foster, George Bowes, Clayton Edmonds and Julian Correa there inside the top 10. Going through the grid then, Filip Saraviak starting on pole position once again, the championship leader ahead of Ethan Sparks and Mason Foster on the Mortimer Racing machine. Second in the championship is Harrison McKay, starting in 4th position, and then Jack Dunnerby and Ryan Frost, who's 3rd in the championship on the Fibertech by MLab Honda. Julian Correa, the Barcelona-based Floridian, starts alongside his countrymen from Pennsylvania, Josh Raymond Jr. and Jensen Bishop. Clayton Edmonds completing the top 10. Looking further down is the one that Danny just mentioned, our Silverstone race winner, Peter Willis, going from 16th on the grid. Incredible shake-up here, but up at the front of the field, it's those same familiar names, Saraviak, Sparks, Dunnerby and McKay, who were all absolutely stellar at Donington Park. And one thing we talked about there a lot, Danny, was the fact that because Sparky is such a wee young'un, the fact that he's so small means that he's very good in a straight line, got good slipstream opportunities there. Surely, even if Saraviak with the best launch in the world is going to struggle to pull away from him.
Yeah, I think Filip's tactics got to be to just try and push on in that get a first, you know, clean corner, turn 1, turn 2, get himself into that infield and really try and put a little bit of a gap into Ethan Sparks, because I really think we're going to see Ethan use the slipstream to his advantage. But also, I think Dunnerby's, I think he's going to be there. Obviously, Harrison McKay, again, a little bit taller, but, you know, it seems that Soroviak, in his qualifying lap, anyway, he had 0.6 over the field. So, you know, I don't know if he'll be able to do that lap on lap, but I think he's going to try his best to just get away and stay out of trouble.
Yeah, it's one thing to do it in a qualifying session. It is another to do it for 12 laps of racing. The ice creams are in huge demand because it is incredibly hot out there. Bit of drama, though, for Jack Burrows, I'm just hearing. He's pulled into pit lane at the end of this warm-up lap. Now, where was he due to start? I think slightly further down the order. Yeah, down in 17th position, so there'll be a gap on the grid where his bike is supposed to be, but the green flag is waved at the rear of the field. And we will have 12 laps of racing in the third meeting of the season for the R&G British Talent Cup. Great start by the pole sitter, but Ethan Sparks gets away very well from second position, side by side between the two stable mates going into Ritchie's for the first time, and it's Sparky who leads ahead of Soroviak, and it looks like Harrison McKay might have gotten the jump on Mason Foster there in fourth position. Yes, Jack Dunderby following him through as well. Look at Sparky backing it up into the Wilson hairpin. He's gone wide, and that has allowed Soroviak to go back through.
Yeah, Soroviak just hit his mark there, broke and used his weight to his advantage, you know, got the bike stopped, and yeah, Sparks hasn't actually lost that much. He's lost a little bit of time there, but not too much to Soroviak. But it's so key for these guys to just get through these first two laps, you know, with these sort of corners, the stop-start corners.
Brian Frost making a move on the inside on that number 24 Fibertech machine. He's side by side with Julian Correa. Two down at Agostini. One of them is the number 19 of Scott McPhee. And the other one, it looks like the airbags have gone off there as well, but Scott McPhee and one else down as well.
Or ignore me, just yeah, have a little crash at there. It's very hard. You've got a lot of bikes to get through those little turns. It's good to see he's got his arm around him. Good sportsmanship. To learn that at a young age is mega, because, you know, no one wants to crash, let's face it. But,
Jensen Bishop, the other one who went down there, sadly.
It does catch you out. Sometimes you might get into a little bit of a draft from somebody, and, you know, you end up missing your braking marker by such a little amount that it does affect you. But as we can see here, look, even Sparks is going with Soroviak, and if he can just stay there in the turns and just put himself in position, it's always a telltale sign as well along the start-finish where they're going to make the move if they can do it before the finish line.
Scott McPhee, of course, got to race at the same event as his cousin, who was making his Moto3 debut that weekend. But up at the front of the field, Filip Soroviak leading the way. Three-time winner already this season, already surpassing his win tally from last year as well in the first two meetings of the season. It's been an incredible start for Filip Soroviak. He leads by just over 0.2 of a second at the end of the first lap of racing. It is Harrison McKay, Jack Dunderby and Julian Correa side by side with Brian Frost across the line in their battle for 5th and 6th position. And I believe it's Frosty who just came out on top in that one. But between the top two, Soroviak and Sparks once again, shades of Donington, Danny.
Yeah, Willis is up to 9th. He's made a fantastic first lap. You know, he's 2.9 seconds down in that opening lap, but he is up to 9th place, and it's you can really pull some time here on these straights.
So we're going to see what happened down at Agostini. And you see, I think it was Jensen Bishop trying to go down the inside, maybe even trying to bail out of that one, but then just clipping the rear of John McPhee's bike.
Yeah, it happens. It is a bit of a shame. But yeah, look, they're just saying, look, sorry, mate.
Scott McPhee. I knew I was going to do that at some point this season.
Maybe we'll just call him McPhee.
Yes.
And maybe we won't get told off for that by then. But yeah, look, we'll go back to the front. McKay's doing a good job. He's hanging in there. You know, he's a bigger guy, and hanging in there in that midsection, he's the one. But he's Soroviak's riding the wheels off this bike. It's making all sorts of shapes on turn one earlier. Look at the speed of Sparks there. On this is where he's really got to make the most of his size.
This is what we were talking about, the little pocket rocket down there on 62. Of course, all 4 of those bikes in the top 4 might have different names on them compared to the one leading, but they are all coming out the same RS stable. The third place machine of Harrison McKay, the slightly more experienced one, 17 years old, the same age as Filip Soroviak. Oh no, actually, sorry, slightly older than Filip Soroviak, 16-year-old now. in his third season of the British Talent Cup, and then the one in the middle, the youngest and least experienced of the lot of them.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm a big fan of Ethan Sparks, as I mentioned already this year. But Soroviak is doing a great job. You know, in that last sector there, he managed to pull quite a lot of time there. He pulled quite 0.2 just in that sector alone. And the guys are going to have to try and figure out a way of getting close to him, to getting him. Oh, as we see Ethan Sparks there, nearly lost the front. The rear was sliding.
Whoa,
and don't look over your shoulder. That's naughty, naughty, naughty. We like to look forward, please. But Soroviak's doing a great job in his infield, and Ethan Sparks is pushing. You know, he knows if he's there, he can have a go.
Soroviak was right up on the curbing on the exit of the Wilson hairpin as well. But the fastest man last time around was the man in third position, Harrison McKay, as again Sparky looks to the inside of Agostini. And I think Soroviak was forced to just leave a little bit of space there on the inside just in case, but was able to turn through with no real obstruction alongside him. Sparky settling in behind, but he's looking very good at it. He just popped the rear wheel in the air going into Oggies.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a bump there as you brake into Oggies, and usually it catches people out in the wet because it's just as you're leaning over on the brake, and you find a lot of riders actually end up crashing there just because of that. And as you saw there, even for Ethan Sparks there, you know, the rear wheel was off the ground. But Soroviak's doing a great job here. He's really handling the pressure well. You know, he's got a little bit loose at times, but he's doing a good job. And you can just see, like what I said earlier about the telltale sign of where they're faster. You know, no one's getting anywhere near Soroviak over the start-finish line, which means that if he can get on the last lap at this point now, you know, no one's going to be able to pass him.
Soroviak from my neck of the woods, from Morden in southwest London, end of the tube line.
Posh.
Not something anyone should see. I'm going to gloss over that one, Daniel.
Personal dig at each other then, that one.
Yeah. So end of lap number 3, Soroviak, look how much he's managed to pull.
So
just
good in
a
that
few
last
corners.
sector. I know, and I
So
keep saying
good.
it. He's, I don't know if it's through quorum. Yeah, look, he's took 0.6 out of him in that last sector alone. And I don't know, it must be the entry speed to Coram from the bomb hole. The track goes down, up, elevates up, and it turns into a real fast right-hander. And I just wonder if Soroviak's just pushing on there. Obviously, he's pushing on there because he's rapid. But Ethan Sparks is looking exciting. His foot's down, he's sideways into the hairpins. He is enjoying himself. And even if he's seeing Soroviak pass him by, you know, and obviously pull away, he's still enjoying himself. And he's riding that bike. He's full of energy. And I think we're in for a really exciting career following Ethan Sparks.
It's nearly 3/4 of a second now, the advantage for Philip Soroviak after doing the fastest lap of the race at 2:02.4. And so it is Sparks now actually falling back into the clutches of his other teammate, Harrison McKay, the more experienced, as we mentioned. Great battling happening further down the field. We've got the Fibertech machine, Josh Raymond Jr. slicing through on the inside. It's a little bit further back on Mason Foster in 88, who, remember, he started on the front row of the grid. Not the kind of pace I expected to see from Mason here.
No, exactly, and you've got Jack Dunnerby there. He's in 4th place, having a little bit of a lonely-ish ride. You know, he's got half a second behind him, and yeah, there's...
excuse me, I was completely wrong. It's not Mason Foster. It is Clayton Edmonds in 64. Similar-looking machines, but also to that point, which still stands Foster just in front of them in 7th position.
Yeah, don't worry, man. We won't hold you to that one. You know, it's. But yeah, they're having a great ride. You know, that's. You know, got Carrera there in 6th place. You know, I thought he was going to be a little bit faster here this weekend, and very wide line there by Dunnerby. But he's doing a great job. You know, the guy behind Frost is there, and he seems to be sort of bridging that little gap he had. So I wonder if we're going to see a little bit more of a battle here for 4th place.
Dunnerby coming out of the Scottish Championship, but under big pressure from Ryan, the Rhino Frost, who is the highest returning rider from last year, and it looks like he's going for the manoeuvre for 4th into Ritchie's. No, didn't able to get that one done. It was Dunnerby who cut across the front.
You've got to be brave there as well, because most of the time there you can pass on the brakes as you release the brake, and it is such a scary corner. Even on these bikes, you know, they're going a little bit less quicker than the bikes that I've ridden before, but they are still going fast, and you've got to be brave there. But Soroviak just posted a 2:minute 2.2, and again, even though Sparks was a little bit quicker that last lap, he still was a 10th off Soroviak here. So I feel like he's in his groove at the minute. He's clicking these laps by, and they're all enjoying themselves. You can tell it. They're all the way their body language is. They're sideways into these hairpins, and it looks fun.
Julian Creer and Mason Foster also very close for 6th and 7th position, and Josh Raymond Jr. has just made that pass for 8th ahead of Clayton Edmonds. And so he's demoted Edmonds down to 9th position. Looking a little bit more equidistant between our top 3 out there, all of them coming out of the RS stable as we mentioned. But the City lifting team for the leading number 75 car, it's the Team Kavara Projects name for the chasing 2 bikes of 62 and 61. Harrison McKay in his 5th season now of British Talent Cup racing as the 4th of the RS Run machines. Jack Dunnerby continues to soak up the pressure from Ryan Frost, and just bear in mind the experience difference. As I said, Jack Dunnerby coming out to the Scottish Championship, Ryan Frost now in his 3rd season here at the British Talent Cup. Dunnerby going wide around Coram, and that could be an open door for Ryan Frost to go through. No, still not able to get the move done.
He seems to pull it back. He goes in a little bit wide and seems to pull it back towards the end of that. So if he watches that back, I think he's better to stay a little bit tighter there. But yeah, I mean, you know, Ryan Saxby, he's had riders such as Kyle riding there. You know, he had a dominant time in the when he raced way back when in this class. In the Motor 3 class, sorry, and you know, he's even in the 125 days, you know, he always was at the front of his team. You know, if you was going to race for a team, the RS Racing, we've seen that. I think Soroviak's just gone down. I think we've lost Soroviak.
We've lost the race leader. Philip Soroviak, for the 2nd race in a row, has fallen off the bike. Incredible stuff, and so that will allow Ethan Sparks to go through into the lead of the race, but Philip cannot believe what has just happened.
I just saw that out of the corner of my eye as I was watching the screen there, and yeah, that's a shame. He's just pushing that front too hard into the head. We're going to see a replay here. He's pushing on. He's a little bit offline there at that point, and yeah, down he goes. You know, just pulling. He looked a little bit offline, but yeah, it's sometimes, you know, you're pushing on. The track temperature's warm. The tyres are moving around a little bit more, and you don't like when the front tyres moving. It's not nice.
But this is extraordinary scenes. The man who's dominated proceedings in the first 2 meetings of the season, the first rider ever to win the opening 3 races of the season in this championship, and now his most recent 2 points tallies is going to be 0.
Yeah, and when you're fighting for a championship, you cannot afford to have no point scorers. You need to be fighting for that. You need to be top 5, top 6 at least if your competitors are at the front. And you know, to win that championship, you have to be consistent, and there's no 2 ways about it.
Well, what this means now is this battle between Jack Dunnerby and Ryan Frost is now for the podium, with Dunnerby being promoted up into 3rd position, and Frosty on the inside again at Coram. So this is almost a carbon copy of what we saw on the previous lap, and again Dunnerby is just able to pull it back across.
Yeah, I don't like Dunnerby's line there, I won't lie. It scares me. He's got a lot of lean angle
every time they go through.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of lean angle, and he's off on the dirty part of the track. I don't like it. So if you listen to this one, mate, please change that next race. But we have now, all of a sudden, though, things are heating up, because this is a battle for the podium. That matters. When it's 4th place, you kind of go, oh, you know, I'm 5th at the minute. You know, 4th. Okay, if I can get it, I can get it. As we see a crasher there, but
Lily
ultimately.
Rhodes.
Oh, sad. But ultimately, it is about the podium now, and these guys are going to be fighting out for that.
So Lily Rhodes down at Oggies, but rider okay, which is the good news. That's from turn number 6. As still Frost looks to try and get himself onto the podium for the 4th time this season. Still hunting for that maiden win as well, which is surprising for the man who had the most wins of anyone last season. But Soroviak, who has been, well, he's been win or bust, hasn't he, in this championship so far. Further back, Clayton Edmonds, they're just ahead of, is that Peter Willis? No, it's Josh Raymond Jr. So that's another exchange between those 2, with Edmonds going back through on Raymond Jr. into 7th position.
Yeah, if I'm Philip Soroviak now, I'm just going to go back look at the data, look at what happened. Was I on the brake for too long? Did I release the brake too aggressively and upset the front end? What happened? Let's just take that into tomorrow's races and just, you know, try and be a little bit different, because, you know, you've got to just learn from your mistakes. We all make mistakes, you know, everyone makes mistakes in life, and it's just about, you know, looking at that and saying, right, I'm not going to do that again, and let's just go. He's got great pace. He's just got to try and wind that in a little bit and just get these finishes and get these points, because, you know, it's a long championship.
Julian Correa now up into 5th position ahead of Mason Foster there. Correa, or Juju as he likes to be known, with pressure on the outside. There's no way Foster's going to get this. Oh, what a move from Mason Foster right around the outside at Coram, on the inside at Murray's. That is fantastic.
Very clean move that was. Look, Correa's gonna probably try and come back on the left-hand side there, but that was a clean move. That was a lovely move. But the issue with these smaller bikes is by the end of the start-finish straight, that happens. You know, you just cannot get the power down to the ground as hard as you need to when the pass is made into the last turn.
So Correa back through into 5th. For how long though? Because here comes Foster again on the inside of the Wilson hairpin. You see he runs it out a little bit wide, but not enough to allow Correa to try and come back through. Is he going to have a look at Palmer? We certainly thought about it. Correa there, the Floridian, as we mentioned, 16 years old, the first American race winner in the British Talent Cup. He's also racing in the American Talent Cup as well, whereas Mason Foster, only one podium finish to his name in this championship after a very impressive rookie season in the British Talent Cup last year, but a winner in the Spanish Moto 4 series. So we're going to see that move again from Mason Foster. I mean, talk us through this one, Dan. Yeah, it's incredible.
He just positioned himself on the outside, carried a little bit more speed, tightened it up at the end there into the last turn. As you can see, he's alongside him here. He turns it, but here he cannot get on the gas as hard as Correa. And by the end of the straight, that's what it does.
It's worth pointing out as well that down at Coram and Murray's, that has been an action point for falls so far today. We have seen a lot of very experienced riders go down the road there. So to be doing a move like that at what has been a very hot action spot, I think just emphasises again how great that move was.
Yeah, and he made it look really simple as well. It looked really nice and tidy move. You know, it's not an easy move to make, as we see him go out wide. Dunderby again with that scary line. Jack, stop the line. It's going, we see a crash. Oh, Sparks!
Unbelievable! We've had 2 of our race leaders down the road in this race. I cannot believe it. And so now it is Harrison McKay who leads on number 61, and Ryan Frost is going to get promoted to the podium now, but he's after 2nd place against Dunderby. So let's see what happened to Sparks. And I was just talking about the action spot. It's down at Murray's.
Yeah, he looked like he lost the rear a bit there, to be honest with you, as he turned in. So yeah, shame for Ethan Sparks, but listen, you have to learn these things. You have to learn the hard way. You have to do that to, you know, to get over it and to make yourself a better person and a better rider. So as bad as that is to watch, you know, it's experience for him and it needs to happen. And you know, he's it's sad because you want him to win. You know, everyone wants to win, but you need to make these mistakes and then you won't make them again. So as you just got to try and swing a positive with that. And now Dunderby and Frost are like, right, if this happens again, if McKay goes down, we're going to be fighting for the win here, you know, the way this race has been going.
But that is going to be the toughest and most soul-crushing lesson that Ethan Sparks has just learned there. A very tricky spot on the circuit. I mean, he could have become a race winner in only his 5th British Talent Cup race there. That would have been a sensational result for him, and take nothing away from it. He's been doing a great job so far this season. A little adjustment there for Ryan Frost down the Bentley Straight.
Yeah, not quite sure what he was doing now. I thought he was sort of like opening the slipstream up a little bit. I wasn't quite sure, but yeah, that's going to hurt for Ethan, just because again, like, it's his first, you know, he had a couple of seconds, he's riding really well, Soroviak's out the way, good chance to haul back some points, and yeah, but listen, it's not meant to be for him today, so he's got to come back out tomorrow, as Philip has, and just try and learn from the mistakes and just try not to make them again, put together a clean race, and then, you know, win the race. So it sounds all good and well sitting here, and it's easy to do, but it's all experience in the bank.
Is Foster going to do this move again? No, he's not.
Correa knew it and sort of made himself a little bit wider into Murray's there, and I think we're going to see him pass him here, because I think we're going to see Foster pass Correa here just because of that little tighter line.
3 laps to go for these guys. It's Foster to the outside again, but Correa with momentum down the front straight. Foster looks to the inside at Ritchie's, but no way through, and so Correa holds on to what is now 4th position with the top 2 in this race falling down the road. Big wobble though, breaking down for Wilson.
Yeah, I love it when these bikes, they slide them about, they let go of the clutch on the as they're going down the gears. And that's actually, I'm pretty sure they do use a clutch here. I'm just watching the hands of everyone else, because I'm not sure. Yeah, they're on the clutches. And as they release the clutch, you know, they're backing in a little bit. Frost isn't done. Oh, as we see Dunnerby there have a moment there. And these guys are pushing. That could be Frost's ticket to the 2nd place that he's been chasing.
On the inside at Hamilton, and Frosty gets it done. He's through into 2nd position. Ryan the Rhino. And he charged through when he got the opportunity on Jack Dunnerby. It's still a podium position for Dunnerby. But yeah, I think he'll be annoyed at that mistake.
Yeah, definitely. But I do think that Dunnerby has had a little bit more speed in the straight. So I think he might be able to get himself back past. As we see now, he's pulled out the slipstream. Is he alongside? He's got him past.
Wow. Oh, is he going to get it stopped though? Because it looks very scary under braking. He runs out wide, and Frost couldn't really do anything with that on the exit. It's so tight down there, and so when they get into the bomb hole, he can't even fight back.
These two are having a great race. I want to see his line here into this turn.
Oh, he might not have a choice this time, because Frosty throws it.
Yeah.
Throws it to the inside, but still the speed that Dunnerby can carry around the outside there is sensational.
Yeah, he needs to just turn in earlier, basically. He's just got to, where Frost is turning in, he's not, and yeah, it's working.
I was going to say, if it's working for him, then he should just keep doing it, right?
Yeah, mind you, yeah, well, it just scares me. It's on the danger,
Yeah,
it's on the dirty part of the track, or I'm nervous.
All right, fair enough. If he falls down the road as well, then we'll know if it was the right one or not. But right now, that unconventional line for Jack Dunnerby seems to be working very, very well. Conventional line on the inside for Ryan Frost, and heads up riding there from Dunnerby to leave the space on the inside for the Fibertech Honda. And, well, Frosty called through, but that was aggressive stuff in this battle for 2nd position. A lap and a half for Dunnerby to try and counter-attack.
Yeah, it looks like he's woke Dunnerby up a little bit there. Sort of had a little shake of the head, and I don't think he's done. I think Dunnerby's going to have a right go now. He's probably ruffled the feathers there a little bit, and I like what Frost is doing though. He's not taking any prisoners. He's having to go right back straight away, not letting him get into, because you got to think before that, for the last 10 laps, he sat behind him. So, you know, he's made a mistake, and now he's able to capitalise on that. And I think we're going to see Frost try and get a little bit of a gap here before the straight, you know, to give himself a bit of a buffer as we watch this move. Look, he just outbrakes him, points the bike to the inside, puts it there. At that point there, Dunnerby's like, oh, I've got a guest. Like, leans in on him again. That is awesome heads-up racing for both of them. And then we get the little shake of the head in a second.
Yeah, an unwelcome guest.
Yes, a guest that you don't want on the inside of you.
No, like finding a spider in the bathtub. He's fighting back on the outside, and great braking around the outside once again at Brundle, and this time got it even closer to the apex. Trying to find him. Frosty having a big look over the shoulder.
Look over.
Well, Correa is 7.5 seconds behind them. He knows he's got loads of space to fight on this final lap.
Don't look over. The look over police is about. But yeah, this is that line by Dunnerby is amazing. But the only thing I don't like about it is he's making the track a little bit longer. So I'd like to see his data compared to his teammates. But yeah, let's see how this unfolds, because, you know, Frost isn't done yet. Let's see if Frost can make the same move. You know, Dunnerby might be able to pull himself a little bit tighter into turn 2 here to make it hard work for Frost. But let's have a look. Let's wait and see what they've got planned.
Well, it is less than a lap to go then for Harrison Bacquet to take his first victory in the R&G British Talent Cup. The question is, what order are the riders behind him going to finish in? For now, it's Dunnerby who leads this battle for 2nd place through the Wilson hairpin. Frosty doing everything he can to try and usurp the Cavara Projects RS Racing machine in front of him. This bike that he's basically battled with for the entire race, and purely through survival, they found themselves battling for 2nd place in this race. Into Agostini for the final time.
Yeah, Frost, you could tell he was a little bit later on the brakes, and you know, he thought, right, I'm going to have a little go this second lap in the road, but Dunnerby just rose to the occasion. I think he might have pushed his braking markers back a little bit, and it did make it hard work, and Frost, you know, had to pull out of that move. So, or it was heads up riding by Frost, and I'd love to think that he's planning it for the last lap, because yeah, that would be the way to go.
Well, a couple more opportunities down the Bentley straight, but we know how good on the brakes Dunnerby has been going down to Brundle at the end of this straight, and so the question will be if Frosty's got anything to counter-attack with. He has on the inside. I can brake just as late as you, Jack Dunnerby, who braves it out around the outside, slices back on the inside, going into Nelson. One more opportunity to come, I think, through Coram and then into Murray's. Frosty's got a good run around the outside of the bottom hole, though he's very nearly squeezed out onto the grass. Dunnerby with that wide line again. Is it too wide this time as Frosty's on the inside? Can he just get this move done? Yes, he can! Around the outside at the final corner, just in front of them, though, for the first time in the R&G British Talent Cup. It is Harrison McKay, the 17-year-old from Lincoln, who takes his first victory in the championship in a season that has given him his first podiums and now his first win. Ryan Frost, with a sensational last corner manoeuvre, takes second place ahead of Jack Dunnerby. Danny, what a race.
That was great, that was great. You know, he passed him back, he got up inside at Coram, he was trying to tough it out a little bit, and yeah, that was great riding. You know, Frost did a great job there the whole race. He kept the pressure on Dunnerby. Dunnerby done a great job just holding off the pressure, and you know, for these youngsters, it's such good racecraft that they'll take with them all the way through their careers, and yeah, they should be super proud of themselves. And let's not forget McKay there, who won the race. You know, did the right thing, didn't do nothing exceptional at the start of the race, sat in, clicked the laps by, stayed out of trouble, and managed to get 25 points there. So yeah, massive well done to him for that win.
Battling all the way down the field and to the final corner, Isaiah Devine there with Lewis Mullen just battling. But yeah, you might say Ryan Frost, he was ice cool in that battle for second position, but spare a thought. Harrison McKay, yes, we lost Ethan Sparks, we lost Filip Sorowiak, but as the old saying goes, Danny, to finish first you must finish. And after 4 seasons that yielded no rostrum finishes in the British Talent Cup, Harrison McKay now finds himself standing on the top step of the podium.
Yeah, great job, Harrison. And you know, it's just about being there, and you know, sometimes these races go like that, you can't believe your luck, and then sometimes you'll be somewhere in the mid-pack thinking, I just need some of that luck now. But well done as well to Peter Willis, recovering all the way from 16th up to 10th. That was a good race by him.
Yes, that sort of went unnoticed, didn't it really? But good spot there, Danny. That's a very nice ride.
He seemed to make up a lot of space on that lap 1, but seemed to have settled down. He actually went up to 9th on lap 1, but dropped a position and sort of stayed around there. So, yeah, not quite sure what happened there, but still, points again. It's more points.
It certainly is. Oh, we've had a last lap faller by the looks of it, which could be Blake Wilson. So going down towards the Wilson hairpin, and he's into the back of Samuel Munson on the Wilson Racing machine. So Munson also went off the road, but it looks like he was able to gather it up, get back onto the circuit. Well held from him, I must say, but a big fall for Blake Wilson.
Spectacular crash, that one, Chris. To be honest with you, I'm really glad that they both got away from that okay, because Blake Wilson there just caught the rear of the other guy there, and it picked his bike up. And, you know, normally 2 into 1, you know, normally both of them come out, you know, crash. So, but yeah, this is a great feeling, you know, the race win, the family's there, the team's there. What a lovely feeling this is.
Yeah, the family embrace, the entourage. Right, just having a little listen in to the exchange there between Harrison and his crew chief.
Somebody get a picture.
Let's take a look at the results then from a very frenetic race here at Snetterton. It's Harrison McKay with his first victory in the R&G British Talent Cup. Ryan Frost and Jack Dunnerby join them on the podium. Mason Foster just pipping Julian Correa by 100th of a second in their battle for 4th position. Josh Raymond Jr. moving up to 6th position, ahead of Clayton Edmonds, George Bowes, Charlie Huntingford and Peter Willis completing the top 10. Willis coming up from 16th on the grid. Dan Goodman just missing out on the top 10. Ben Joliffe, Alex Rowan and Isaiah Devine, with Lewis Marlin completing the points paying positions. We saw Kyle Payne, Sam Munson and Daniel Stevenson missing out on points with Ben Hardwick. Blake Wilson with a last lap fall. So he is credited in 20th position. We lost, crucially, Ethan Sparks and Philip Soroviak, and that drops Soroviak down to 3rd in the championship. Harrison McKay, our new championship leader, by 7 points to Ryan Frost. Peter Willis still in 4th position with Jack Dunaby now in 5th. Sparky falling down to 6th position as well with Mason Foster for close company, and it just goes to show how quickly things can change. Just one race has completely changed the face of the championship standings.
Harrison McKay, number 61, 17 years old. You've just taken your first ever British Talent Cup win. How are you feeling?
I can't actually explain. I've been waiting so long for this moment. Obviously started off this year with one podium, which was my first ever podium, and now we've run round 3 and I've already got my first win, so really, really happy.
Can you carry this on? Can you keep this form up?
I really hope so. I felt strong. The pace was quick in that race. I was just lucky with what happened between Philip and Ethan. But yeah, I'm confident I can do it again.
Well, it's a fantastic victory. Well done. Congratulations. Go and enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
Well, Harrison a bit lost for words, and I don't blame him, to be honest. Absolutely incredible. What a whirlwind of a season that he has had so far, with his first podium and then his first win as well. Ryan Frost, sensational battle for 2nd position with Jack Dunaby, that concluded with this monster maneuver around the outside of Murray's on the last lap. Incredible stuff out there, and Dunaby had been repelling the advances of the much more experienced rider throughout the race, but Dunaby will stand on the podium in 4th position, in 3rd position, sorry, his 2nd podium of the season after bagging his first last time out at Silverstone. Ryan Frost with his 4th podium of the season. He's been on the podium at every meeting we've had so far, but for the first time on the top step of the podium in a British Talent Cup race, it is Harrison McKay. And so the trophies awarded to the riders, and I can imagine this is going to be quite the moment for Harrison McKay, who will lift the trophy aloft as a race winner in the R&G British Talent Cup. Let's look back on a great race at Snetterton for the R&G British Talent Cup. Philip Soroviak got away well from pole position, but was challenged by Ethan Sparks into the first corner. They exchanged places until Soroviak went down the road at Wilson. The same thing would happen to Ethan Sparks down at Murray's as well. The top 2 in the race, both going down of their own accord. We enjoyed a thrilling battle between Ryan Frost and Jack Dunaby that eventually was for 2nd position, with them exchanging places. Aggressive moves left, right and centre down at Wilson, with Dunaby able to get around the outside at Brundle. On the final lap though, it was Frosty who was lunging on the inside going into that corner. The unconventional wide line for Dunaby eventually cost him that 2nd place though, with Frost able to go through and cut across the front of him going into Murray's. But it was for the first time in the British Talent Cup, Harrison McKay with a first victory in the championship.